Greetings, guys. How are you? How are you doing? How are you doing? Um, yes, it's that time again for the Bizcast, where we talk about all things business. All right. So I'm just gonna finish setting up everything on my side here. I need to share this video and also wait for people to join in. But today we've got a very exciting topic. We've got a very exciting topic called what is a true entrepreneur? There are so many people who are always, always trying to do something. I'm an entrepreneur. It's just a buzzword around now. Everybody's talking about entrepreneurship. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. Everybody. But the question is, what is an entrepreneur? And how do you know that you have that entrepreneurial calling or that entrepreneurial ability? How do you know if you are an entrepreneur or not? Is this for you or is this not for you? Okay, so that's what we just want to check. We just want to talk about that. What is a true entrepreneur? Okay? And we just want to examine critical attributes, key attributes of entrepreneurs, okay? I'm a business coach. I have spoken a lot about entrepreneurship. I specialize in SMME development. That's your small to medium, to micro, medium enterprises, okay? In other words, small businesses that are growing to become big businesses. So I really help or work a lot with people that are starting businesses. That's what I focus on. Okay, that's what I focus on. So that's what we are going to be doing now. That's what we're going to be doing now. So let's look at this very, very interesting topic of entrepreneurship. What is a true entrepreneur? As we are doing this podcast, I would like to ask you to leave questions, comments, so that when we do the next Bizcast, we can also touch on that. Okay, all right, cool. So let us begin. It's 8:10. We've got about 30 minutes to do this. Okay, we've got about 30 minutes to do this. All right, let us start. All right, what is an entrepreneur? What is an entrepreneur? All right, what is a successful entrepreneur? Now, the very interesting thing, first of all, is that successful entrepreneurs actually have very similar attributes. On the outside, they may look very different. Like when you look at Richard Branson and you look at Bill Gates, I mean, these people are different, okay? But that's more of personality. But in terms of the attributes, the core attributes of entrepreneurs, they have similar attributes. So we can actually study these attributes and then apply them, and we are guaranteed to also succeed. The reason why we should study successful people is we want to know what is it that makes them so successful. Okay, success is more than just praying and hoping. Okay, there's a place for prayer, there's a place for faith and all of those things. But success boils down to understanding key attributes, working on them consistently to develop them in yourself, and then using them day to day and seeing results. Okay, so you can actually study success. Success is not a mystery. Most people think success is a mystery. It's not a mystery. It's something you can study. You can actually look at the key attributes that make a person successful. You can actually adopt those attributes. You can cultivate them consistently and diligently, and the result will always be the same. It's like going to the gym. If you go to the gym consistently and you work on your biceps, or you work on your triceps, or you work on your shoulders or whatever, it will start to show that some work is being done. Then nobody goes to the gym and remains the same. Your body starts to change, your muscles start to change. That's the same thing with success, and it's the same thing with business. You know what I've learned from starting many businesses, that the more you start businesses, the easier it becomes. At first, it's very difficult because this is a new exercise. Like the first time you go to the gym, I remember, I was very zealous and lifting weights all over the place and everything. The next day, there was so much pain all over my body. I felt like somebody had literally been beating me the whole night long, But after a while, I actually got used to it. And guess what? My body started to crave going to the gym because it was used to that now, to that lifestyle. And pretty soon, my shoulders started to broaden, my lats, my chest started to expand and everything. And I started to look like a person who actually lifts weight. Okay, that is the same thing with success. Success can be studied. So it's not all right to look at people longingly and wishing I had something that they had. I wish I had their house. I wish I had their Lamborghini. I wish I had their money and everything. When you can actually take time to study what makes successful people successful and then work and cultivate that in yourself. Okay. Now, so successful entrepreneurs share very similar attributes, okay? So the good news is that you can learn all these qualities. And if you are serious about making it, it's really up to you to carefully look at your strengths and weaknesses and then throw your energy into developing yourself in the areas where you could improve, okay? So now let's look at some things about successful entrepreneurs. Number one, how do you know you are a successful entrepreneur? I'm going to give you attribute number one. Entrepreneurs are innovators. Okay, that's the first attribute I'm going to give you. If you are an entrepreneur, you are prone to be an innovator. Right. Now, let me say that actually, number one, entrepreneurs are inventors. In the purest and truest sense of the word, an entrepreneur is an inventor, okay? So an inventor is someone who creates a solution that has never been created before or used before to a problem. So the solution is original, it's new, it has never been seen. So Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, okay? Before then, they had lanterns and all of those things, but nobody had ever developed a bulb. Okay, so that was an invention that has changed the world. Now we've made many improvements. These days we've got LED lights, but the original inventor of the bulb was Thomas Edison. Okay, so an entrepreneur, in the truest sense, is actually a person who invents things. Okay, now that's very, very rare. Probably about 3% of the world's population are true inventors. Okay, so that's attribute number one. But not all people like Elon Musk. Elon Musk is an inventor. Okay, but not everybody who makes money is an inventor. Okay, to make money, you either need to be number one, an inventor, or the attribute number two, you need to be an innovator. All right. Now, the innovation part, okay, is just finding existing solutions to problems around you, in your community, in your nation, and then making them just better, a little bit better, or a little bit different than they were. That's an innovator. An innovator builds on what an inventor put forth. Okay, then they take it, then they just differentiate it, or they add a few other things that differentiate their product or service or process or whatever it is from what everybody else is doing. Okay, so not everybody is an inventor, but most of us can, if we put our minds to it, innovate. Okay, you can find something very different. I'm going to give you a very small example, okay, of innovation. Now, when you go to the shops, you can buy a whole watermelon, all right, and you can buy veggies, and you can buy a whole cabbage, right, the whole head of cabbage, and you can just get these things and bring them home. Okay, someone just harvested them and sold them to Spar or Pick and Pay. You go there, you buy them, you go home. Okay, there's no innovation there. Hey Menzi, how's it, my friend? Good to see you. Anyway, there's no innovation there. Okay, you simply take it and you get home. But now someone thinks and say, what if I start to cut the watermelon into slices and the cabbage into pieces, or even into, cut it thinly into thin stripes and then package them in plastics. So a person can actually go and just buy a plastic for the evening and cook them. That is innovation. So someone can just, buy the whole head of cabbage and take it home, and then they have to do their work themselves. Or someone can decide that I'm going to innovate on that, and then people start to buy that. You make more money per cabbage, and also you are likely to sell more because most people don't want to be cutting cabbage at home. Innovation. So everybody can innovate in something, from very simplistic things to very complex things like motor vehicles and rockets. Like Elon Musk is innovating in the space industry and all of those things. Okay, so this is very key. And when I do my coaching, when I speak, I always tell people, do not scratch your head trying to come up with a very, very complex solution. Look at what others are already doing and then piggyback on that. See how you can change things. I'm into e-commerce. I built a successful company in e-commerce, right? And we deliver our products throughout South Africa. And when we got into this market, the standard usually would be 5 working days, okay? From the time that you buy your item online to delivery at your doorstep nationwide. Then we started to say we wanna do this in 3 days. That change to just say from 5 days to 3 days brought us customers from Takealot, from Makro, and other competitors. Why? Because people want, once you buy your thing, you want it immediately, right? Now we are working on making it 2 days, 48 hours. So we had to innovate on our processes. The product, we didn't even touch it. We didn't even innovate on the product. Just our process, okay? Make the customer experience more interesting, more efficient. That is also innovation. So you can innovate the process, you can innovate the service you offer, or you can innovate the product itself, okay? Innovation usually does not cost a lot, okay? It is just using your mind to be clever, Just be clever, black. Like Jacob Zuma used to say. That's all you need to do. So most people will start businesses based on innovation. Very few start businesses based on invention. All right. So an entrepreneur can be number one, an inventor, or number two can be an innovator. But you must always be looking for ways to innovate. Look at your processes. How can I improve my processes in my business? Look at the product itself. Can I change something? Do I need to cut my veggies? Do I need to sell them together with other things? Okay. It doesn't matter. Your service, how do you differentiate yourself from somebody else? Do something interesting, appealing to your customers. Do not go and start another Chisanyama Kokasi. Don't do it. There are too many of them. If you're going to open a Chisanyama, find a way to differentiate yourself from the million Chisanyamas around you. For example, offer free Wi-Fi at your Chisanyama. That is invention. That is invention. Just something like free Wi-Fi. Free Wi-Fi costs you 500-600 rand, which is bottomless. And anyone who comes there will know, if we go there, we can work. Free Wi-Fi at Chisanyama. Or you can have a car wash with a Chisanyama on the side and a laundry service on site for shoes. Okay, while my car is being washed, I'm working, I'm also eating, and the Wi-Fi is free. And oh, by the way, I've got 3 pairs that need to be washed. Okay, so I do all of those things in one place. That's invention. The problem is that everybody is doing the same thing. We are always looking at what everybody's doing. In fact, we think it is going to work because everybody's doing it, not realizing that no, don't follow the beaten track, but you trailblaze. Find a different way of doing something. Guys, innovation is small things that can make a difference. Small things that can make a difference. I used to go to a car wash. I stay in Midrand, but I used to drive all the way to Acacia, Pretoria North, to a Chisanyama to a car wash because they sold traditional food, muhudu and everything like that. I like that. Then this guy for some reason stopped doing that, and you know what? I stopped going there. I would drive almost 40 kilometers for a car wash because there was a certain way of cooking traditional meals that I wanted. So they pulled out that and it became another car wash. Innovation is key. So innovate your processes. how you handle your employees, your team. Look at ways to make their experience interesting. You must be innovating all the time. Read widely. Look at what others are doing. Look at international trends. Make things interesting. Do not be boring. If you're an entrepreneur, do you hear that, Lamini Menzi? Don't be boring. Customers buy you before they even buy your product. Okay. Inventors, innovators, number 3. Okay. Number 3, entrepreneurs are job creators. Okay. If you are an entrepreneur, you create an opportunity, all right? And if you know what you're doing, it will start to outgrow you as an individual. And now you're going to need help from people with the right skills that are willing to sell their products. They're willing to sell their skills to you in return for what you call a salary. Okay, so that is a job creator. As an entrepreneur, you are a job creator. You change lives. You need to understand that. You need to, do entrepreneurship with the mindset, which is more than just, I want to make money. You can actually change lives. It was always amazing that when I started my business, I started it in the garage, in my garage. And pretty soon we started to see people coming, and we started to see people changing and making plans for their cars and everything. And then you realize, hey, wait a minute. People are actually changing lives here. People start to talk about, hey, I'm paying Lobola at the end of the month. Okay, a family starting, kids are going to come out of that. Okay, that's what an entrepreneur is. We are job creators. Okay, number 4, an entrepreneur is a game changer. I used to be called game changer. In fact, I still my vehicle for doing business coaching is called Game Changers Club. So I love game changing. Now, the philosophy of a game changer is as follows. You go and you into a situation, and it's like the way the game is playing in that situation. You don't like the way the game is unfolding. Something is missing. There are too many pain points. You're not happy. Okay? It's like you're watching Orlando Pirates versus Chiefs, and man, if I could just step onto that field, I'll show them what I'm made of. I'll show them how to do this. Okay? So what you do is, instead of just being in the stands and saying, these guys don't know what they're doing, they've lost it, the coach is bad, you actually apply and say, I want to join this football academy. I want to join the Chiefs football academy, or Pirates, or Mamelodi Sundowns, or whatever. And you actually start to pay the price. You start to exercise. You start to compete for a spot in the team. And then when you are in the team, okay, or when you become the manager, you start to now unfold your philosophies and implement them so that the game starts to change. So you are more than a person complaining and folding their hands and criticizing those who are actually on the field. You actually take it upon themselves to do the necessary so that you can put Kaizer Chiefs on top of the log. All right, that's a game changer. A game changer is a person who observes a game playing or unfolding in a way they don't like, and then they decide, I'm going to do something about this myself. I can sit here and complain and complain and complain until the cows come home. All right, we call you an armchair critic. Armchair critics, they know everything. So and so that number, they know about the goalkeeper, they know about number 11, number 10, they know what needs to be done, except they don't actually do something about it. But a game changer says, you know what, this is not cool, this is not on, I'm going to lace up my boots and I will go and change the game myself. So a game changer is not afraid to get dirty, to work hard, to change what's happening. And South Africa needs game changers. And SADC region needs game changers. And Africa needs game changers. We've got too many people waiting for the government to do something. Okay? When we should be doing something ourselves. Remember those attributes I was talking about when I was saying you can observe people who are successful and you can develop and cultivate those attributes within you. One of them is that desire to change things, to do something, to shed off the victim mentality, the entitlement mentality, to feel entitled that someone should do something for you. Nobody's coming to rescue you, okay? Nobody's coming to rescue you. You've got 2 ears, eyes, you've got a brain, you've got energy, you've got a body. You are gonna rescue yourself. Use that, Okay, even if you pray to God, God will tell you, I've given you a brain, I've given you wisdom. Use what you have. Okay, so you must be a game changer. Do something different. Change the situation around you. Now, game changers, entrepreneurs are also business leaders. Okay, so inventors are number one, number two, innovators, number three, job creators, number four, game changers, and then number five, business leaders. Now, what I'm talking about is that you need to show leadership in the way you run your business. Okay, don't think about a one-man business forever. You need to transition from an entrepreneur to a businessman or a businesswoman. There's a difference between an entrepreneur and a businesswoman. Okay, but you can be both an entrepreneur and a businesswoman. Now, as an entrepreneur, you're always looking for solutions. You're always hunting. Okay, right. So entrepreneurs are always hunters. Okay, so you must always keep that. As the CEO, you must always be looking for new opportunities to expand your business, okay? If you find yourself as a CEO now comfortable, you are already in trouble. Your business is already in trouble because other people, while you are sleeping and while you are not innovating, other people are busy at work innovating. So it won't be long before you're driven out of business. So you need to be always on top of your game. Know what's happening in your industry all the time. Be curious, be nosy, find out what's happening, but also become a businessman, okay, meaning that you now need to be a manager. So an entrepreneur creates opportunities and brings the money in. A manager now becomes, is good at multiplying that money, okay, cutting costs, making sure that the money that the entrepreneurial side of you brought into the business is not lost. So a lot of entrepreneurs are very bad business people. So they make a lot of money, but they spend all of it. It's gone. But an entrepreneur who's wise also invests in becoming a business leader. You understand the business of your business. You understand debits and credits. You understand how to manage your money. You understand how to hire the right employees, to put the right structures in your organization so that employees find a home. Okay? You need to become a business leader. Don't let your business fail because while you're a brilliant entrepreneur, you are a terrible business person. Did you know that Steve Jobs was actually fired from his own company when he founded Apple? He was a brilliant entrepreneur, but he was a terrible business person. So he was fired and he went and founded a company called NXT, I think it was NXT, or Nexus, I think, or I don't remember clearly. It was during that time that he transitioned from just an entrepreneur to a businessman. When he came back to Apple, Apple blew. It exploded. Why? Because now they had both an entrepreneur and a business person. And today we still have Apple products, one of the most valuable companies in the world. But he almost missed it because he failed to transition from just an entrepreneur, a hustler. We call them hustlers. You're hustling all the time. No, it's good to hustle. But another side of you must be the one that wears a suit, mentally, to say, okay, let's understand the business here. What's happening with our cash flow? What's happening with our profits and losses? What's happening with the way we are hiring our people? What are our policies? Okay, it's necessary. If you don't have these skills, you can also hire people who help you with that. Okay. Now, next, entrepreneurs are disruptors. Disruptors means that you change the way things are being done. You know that before Apple came, iPhone came, the big guys were BlueBerry and Nokia, I remember I was a university student and I had a phone and it was prestigious because it was very expensive those days. And Nokia was ruling the market, okay? Then Steve Jobs came with the iPhone. The iPhone changed phones forever. Today, every phone is a smartphone. That's called disruption, okay? You don't just conform. Innovation is the key. Invention or innovation are key to disruption. So what are you disrupting in your business? Means you say you're going to start a car wash or a chisanyam or whatever. How are you going to disrupt the market? In other words, people must be taken unaware, caught unaware, like, okay, what is this guy doing? He's changing the entire game. I remember I was talking to, I was doing coaching there in Durban. And there was this guy who was doing taxes, and one of the things that we're talking about back then was to differentiate his taxes. What was he going to do? So the idea came up to say, why don't you put free Wi-Fi in your taxi? Okay, so that people will know that your taxi or your taxis have got free Wi-Fi. And he gave a very interesting response. He says, I don't want to die yet. I don't want to die. It's like there's too much violence in the taxi industry. I could get killed because I'm becoming too successful. That's disruption. People take notice because you're doing something very different. So an entrepreneur is a disruptor, okay? Resist the temptation to think like everybody else. Think outside of the box. Make it a habit to embrace wild ideas that come to you. Don't shut them out. Embrace them, or even if you hear them, embrace them, and at the very least, consider them. If they are even more appealing, test them a little bit. Could this work? And then let's see what happens. So entrepreneurs are disruptors. You disrupt the way things happen. All right. Now, entrepreneurs are adventurers. I love this one. You are an adventurer. This is the thing that people need to understand. There is nothing more miserable for an entrepreneur than to have an 8 to 5 job, sitting on a desk, staring at the computer, waiting for orders every single day, following the same routine. If you're an entrepreneur, that sounds like death. And most of the time you get fired from job to job to job. Why? Because you are doing something that you shouldn't be doing. You are an adventurer. What you want to do is to go where the adventure is. Okay? I sometimes speak, to my wife, and she never understands me because she's the very opposite of me. And I tell her, and I say to her, when things are so tough and everything, and maybe she's stressing and everything, I say, but this is the fun. This is what makes it so much fun. When you finally come out of there, you're like, you see, this is the stuff I'm made of. I am made of sterner stuff. You prove to yourself over and over and over again that you are one of a kind, that you are good. You've got a brain behind your ears. God is on your side. And it makes you bold. It makes you want to do more with your life. Okay? So an entrepreneur is an adventurer. Do not be afraid to take risks, but just make sure you calculate your risks and you do them in a wise way that does not destroy your life. Okay? We have people who risk it all and everything, that they are daredevils. Okay? Sometimes they are lucky, but sometimes they lose everything. But there's a way you can do this, okay? In my other podcast, I talk the ABCs of venture creation. If you follow me on my page, go and find it. I talk about the steps you need to take to make sure that when you're testing an idea or launching a business, you fail successfully. If you fail, or you succeed. You either succeed or you fail successfully. So either way, you succeed. Okay, so an entrepreneur is an adventurer. You must allow the adventurous juices to be flowing all the time. Find out what's happening, hunt for new ideas. Okay, so this is something that I always do. I've got a whole vision board where I write the next big ideas. I call it the big ideas tab. Okay, on my Excel. All I do is I put ideas there, and I found that over time some ideas when and they're not exciting, but others stay. Then I start to make concrete plans. I start to put timelines. I start to put the vision, the outcome, who's responsible for it, who do I need to talk about it, what area. Now I can present and say, this is the budget I need for it. Now they're in the back burner. One day when the money comes or when I've got time, I can go and pick up one big idea. But guess what that one big idea will do? It will change everything. Okay, so I know that at first I set out to build an e-commerce company, which I did. Then I set out to scale the e-commerce company, which we did. Now I'm thinking, let's go regional. Okay, you must always have something that you're working on in the background, something big you're always thinking about. Stop being boring. Just because you succeeded in your small business does not mean you must end there. Even if you are satisfied and say, I'm okay with this. But what happened to the entrepreneur in you? What happened to that adventurer in you? Okay, the more you hunt, the more likely you are to succeed. But the more you sit at home, discouraged, the more you are likely to fail, okay? Because you're not doing anything, okay? So those are the biggest qualities of entrepreneurs. Number one, entrepreneurs are inventors. Number two, they are innovators. Number three, they are job creators. Number 4, they are game changers. Number 5, they are business leaders. Number 6, they are disruptors. And number 7, they are adventurers. Now, this is one. There's one more that I really need to just quickly add there. And that is persistence, endurance, grit, the ability to tough it out. I personally, in my years in business, don't know an entrepreneur who is soft. I've never met a soft entrepreneur, never. Every successful entrepreneur I know is persistent. They have got grit, they have got hairs, they have got spirit. They do not give up no matter what. If you see them giving up, it's because they've exhausted every option and they've actually realized, okay, this is banging my war against the head. Let me find a way. They don't quit entrepreneurship. They just find a different way to reach their goal, which is what? To build a company. So they can change tactics because maybe the tactics are not working, they're not bringing money, but the vision will always be there. The strategy will remain the same. They will fulfill their objective. You must have guts. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you must have guts. In the early days of our business, we were robbed 3 times. Our delivery guys were robbed 3 times at gunpoint. They took everything. And at that time, I was funding my business from my pocket. You've put everything in it. You no longer have anything. Nothing is left. You are sacrificing. Your kids don't have a very good life and all of that because you're putting money in the business. And what happens? You get robbed. That was an excellent opportunity for me to quit. And I was crushed. When it happened the 3rd time, I was so crushed. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I was going to make it to work the next day. But what I did is that I just went upstairs. I'm a believer. I went there and I prayed for strength. The next day I showed up at work and I said, guys, we can do this. And the rest is history. We have today built a multi-million rand business. But at the time it was so small and it was tough. That's called guts. That's called persistence, endurance, perseverance. You do not give up on your dream, even if everybody else gives up on you. The last person to give up on you must be you, and you must never give up on yourself. Entrepreneurs must have grit. Okay, if you're an entrepreneur and you're finding yourself complaining all the time and just complaining, yeah, it's not working, quit and go and look for a job. You are not an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur lives for the tough moments because your true mettle is shown when there's war. You can't say that as a king, I'm an excellent king when you inherited a kingdom where everything was working well. The true mettle of a king is tested in war. It is revealed in war when everything is threatening to destroy your kingdom. Now we see the king who is the leader. That's where we have got the Davids who killed Goliath, or who killed bears, who killed lions. That's where we see who you are really made of. So an entrepreneur has got his spirit, persistence, passion, endurance, the guts, grit, they don't give up. So it will eventually work out. You just need to put effort. Have you ever noticed that when you start to push a car, it's very hard when you're pushing the car from zero, or as we call it in physics, from rest, okay? But as the car starts to move, it becomes a little bit easier because you're gathering what we call momentum or inertia in physics, okay? And pretty soon you're actually going to be pushing that car. And at some point you won't even need to push it anymore. It can travel for a certain distance by itself based on the energy that it is picked from you. That is called kinetic energy, all right? So this is the same thing with entrepreneurship. It's hardest at the beginning when you're making so many mistakes. Your business fails the first time, second, third time it fails. But by the time you get to the 4th or 5th, you now have momentum. You now understand how it works. The business itself starts to respond to you because you're pushing. All right, you're pushing through and through. You're continuously pushing. You're persevering. So don't be too quick to give up. Change your tactics, okay? Where do I need to change things? But don't give up on the dream itself, okay? So I think that you guys have learned a lot. Let me just give you, let's do another 5 minutes. I want to just give you some of the quality, some of the tools that you need as an entrepreneur, as you build your business and so forth. And by the way, you guys who are listening or who see this video, let me know what, your questions are for next week when we do the next Bizcast. And also let me know the things that you picked up. What is it that really impacted you, so that I learn, I'm always improving my craft as a business coach, okay? So please let me know. So here is what you need to know. So you are this person who's an entrepreneur, you're an innovator, you're an inventor, you are this person who's an adventurer, you're a disruptor. Okay, we hear all about that. But what are the practical things that you must now carry with you so that you bring out your vision? Okay, right. Number one, you need a clear vision and mission statement as an entrepreneur. You need a clear vision and mission statement. Guys, a lot of people are hustlers, okay? And it's okay when you're beginning, but as you start to grow in this thing that we call entrepreneurship, in this game, start to be a little bit more sophisticated. Start to plan for the long term. Start to develop and improve yourself. You can't be a small-time player all your life, okay? Within 3 years, we should see big things, okay? So the key is you must now have a clear vision and mission statement, okay? This vision and mission statement, these are the things that give you a clear sense of direction. Where are you really going? My personal vision is to be in the top 10 e-commerce companies in South Africa, you see, within 5 years. That's a clear vision. Raymond, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Okay, within the next 10 years, I want to be a market leader in the e-commerce industry within South Africa. Very clear. Okay, how are you going to do it? I'm going to do it through bringing quality products, through scale, okay, and through efficiency. So if people see that I've got quality products, they see that I've got many products that I offer at the same time, okay, and I deliver them efficiently, that empowers me to succeed. I'm likely to get more market share, to win more market share. So I'm very clear about the vision, but I'm also very clear about how I am going to make the vision come to pass. That is called a mission statement. A mission statement simply says, how will you make your vision come to pass? A vision is where are you going? Okay, a mission statement is how you're going to do it. What are the things you need to do right to get you there? All right. So successful entrepreneurs must have a clear sense of direction. Menzi, why do you want to have that car wash? And why do you want to have that Chisanyama? And what is it going to become? What is the ultimate vision 5 years from now? And how are you going to make sure that you disrupt that market? Mission statement. Okay, so a well-defined vision and mission statement will help you to clarify where you want to be and how you get there. All right, so there's a man that I grew up listening to. His name is Brian Tracy. He's the best-selling author of 70 books on entrepreneurship, right? This is what he says. Let me read this quote for you. He says, because of the turbulence and rapid change in today's marketplace, most business owners have been reduced to operating day by day, almost like firefighters. Have you ever felt like that? They are totally preoccupied with short-term problems and the need to get short-term sales and profits. They intend to spend more time thinking and planning for the future, but they don't ever seem to get around to it. Okay, so this is not for successful business owners. You need to set clear targets for yourself and for every part of your business. In fact, perhaps your most important responsibility to your people is to give them a clear sense of direction in their work. Everybody likes to work for a visionary leader. I've worked for many bosses. I am so impressed by a few that were visionary leaders. If you listen to them speaking, you would feel like we are going somewhere, even if it's not your company. Okay, so a clear sense of direction through or written or expressed through a vision and a mission statement. That's number one that you need to do. When you guys are off this or whenever you listen to this, write that, okay? Google, find out how to write a vision and a mission statement, but have one. By the time we meet next week, you must have one clearly written and you must maybe engage me on that. Number two, you need to be innovative and creative. We've covered this already. Innovation and creativity. So you need to be creative when you come up with the idea for product or service you're selling. But that's not where your creativity ends. Okay. Now listen to this. I'm going to quote this guy called Martin Zwilling, who's the founder and CEO of Startup Professional. This is what he says, okay? Brainstorming, ideation, thinking outside the box, disruption, creative thinking, whatever you want to call the process of developing successful new business approaches. This is something that must be explored every day in your business. Ideation, thinking, disruption. You must always be a thinker, an innovator, be an ideas person, okay? You have to let go of things that are holding you back and take chances in business, especially after the first great idea. You cannot will a new idea, but you can train your imagination like a muscle with regular exercise to conceptually blend similar concepts from different contexts, leading to original ideas and insights. What this simply means is you must keep on innovating and thinking and forcing your mind to stretch. Don't be lazy, okay? How long has it been since you have conceived and implemented a really creative idea in your business? That's the question I have for you. Next week, when we meet again, you must have an answer for that. I would like for you to leave even in the notes or comment section to say, these are the things I've done for my business. Because remember, this is free coaching. I charge a lot of money to do what I do now. So this is free coaching for you guys. Use it. Number 3, you need to be committed to improving yourself and your business continually. Continual business improvement, continual self-development. This is critical because oftentimes if you do your business right, your business can actually overtake you and you become the limiting factor to your own business. Why? Because the business now requires a bigger mind than yours. Okay? So now you hold it back or start to make costly mistakes because you don't know how to manage your business. It has outgrown you and people need to develop themselves. You see, when you look around and you see these small businesses are not small because they can't grow. They are small because their owners, the entrepreneurs are small-minded. Okay, if you have the same business, remove the entrepreneur, put another one there. Within 6 months, that business will explode. Why? It is just the right match between the business that is growing and an entrepreneur who's mature. Okay, so entrepreneurs need to learn continuously to develop themselves, and they need to also know how to bring out the best out of their business and out of their employees. So part of this means you never stop learning about yourself, your markets, and the world around you. Listen to me. Entrepreneurs, leaders are readers. You have to have an appetite for knowledge. If you are an entrepreneur who does not like to read, you are not going to go far, trust me. You must be curious about what's happening in your industry. Read. Personally, I'm not the standard, but personally, the first thing I do when I wake up is I read. The last thing I do when I go to bed, I read. When I've got extra time, I read or I write. That's why I'm always writing. A lot of content. Where do you think all that content comes from? I'm a reader. Okay, so I get paid for these kinds of things. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is gold. So you guys need to develop yourself. If you have been frustrated about your business, I can almost guarantee you it's because you've stopped developing yourself. Okay, for more of that, get in touch with me. We'll talk about it. I can even help you through that. Okay, so you develop, you learn about yourself, your markets, and the world around you. It means being curious to find out more and being dedicated to change, to making the changes you need to make. Okay, don't be a statue. Change if you need to change. Don't, in entrepreneurship, there's nothing like, I know this is the way I am. I'm just, this is not a marriage. Okay, marriage does not respect this. You found me like this. Even after you go, I'll be like this. Love me the way I am, or leave. You need to learn how does this game work. Then you need to adapt. Okay. So there's a guy called Peter Scholes. Who's one of the action coaches. I think you've heard of this company called Action Coach, right? This is what he says. He says, entrepreneurs are often autodidactic learners, okay? Which means that much of what they know, they learned outside of a formal classroom setting. Entrepreneurs learn the bulk of what they know through trial and error, through doing and learning. Autodidactic learners seek out information, ask questions, and do personal reading and research to gain knowledge. They are also quick to learn from their own mistakes, which means they are less prone to repeating them. So you learn, you adapt, you learn, absorb information, adapt. That's an entrepreneur. So you are always developing yourself, and you're investing in your business, and you're developing in it. Now, the last part that I want to just do today is number 4 here of this, attributes that the entrepreneur must also possess. In addition to what we said, who are you? Okay, right. Then number 4, you must be self-motivated and self-disciplined. That's the last point. Be self-motivated and self-disciplined. Now, guys, after all is said and done, you have got a brilliant idea. You've got a brilliant mind. You know your good stuff. You've got even the money. There is one ingredient that can make or break a successful entrepreneur, and that is self-discipline. This is the one that overrules all of those. You can have the others, but if you don't have this particular one, which is called self-discipline, everything will fall to the ground. Okay? You would rather have self-discipline and maybe lack the other attributes. But if you are ill-disciplined as an entrepreneur, you will lose money, you lose customers, you will lose opportunities, you show up late and all of that stuff, and you lose many opportunities. Entrepreneurs are self-motivated. To be self-motivated and to be self-disciplined means that you don't need people to tell you what to do. Okay? Even if there's nobody telling you that you need to persevere, it is within you. You are self-motivated. Find that motivation within yourself. Find that discipline within yourself. Draw it from within you. You need it. If you are struggling, exercise it until you are very disciplined. Okay? So all successful entrepreneurs must have self-discipline. Self-discipline is the single most important quality for success in life and business. Have you ever noticed that truly wealthy people are very disciplined? They can party and they can do all of those things and so forth, but these people are extremely self-disciplined. Look at a guy like Black Coffee. Okay, let's talk about Black Coffee, who's now one of the best DJs in the world, if not the best DJ in the world right now, okay, regardless of all his physical limitations. I mean, for as long as I've heard about this guy, he's been doing music. He's been doing this. I've seen photos of him and Entlembali, when they were not even wealthy. And I'm like, this guy was just a young man here. He has been doing the same thing for years and years and years. It takes discipline and consistency to get to the top. Now, we start this business, we leave it. You start that one, you leave it. You start that one, you leave it. You go and work for a long time, then you come back. Come on, guys, what are we doing here? If you want to be successful, you must be disciplined. If you're going to succeed via the career path of working 8 to 9 or 8 to 5, do it very well, but be disciplined, consistent. Okay? Consistency, nothing beat consistency at the end of the day. It may be slow, but it will get you there. Doing the same things and improving on them every day. Same boring things. Okay? I'll tell you that most businesses that make amazing money are very boring businesses. Very boring businesses. The only thing that works there is the fact that you are doing the same thing over and over, and the issue of compound interest or compound effort starts, little efforts building. Do you know that you can have an entire desert made out of sand, but sand starts as one grain? You can have a handful of sand and pour it there, nothing happens. But if you do this 1,000,000 times, you're going to have a desert. It's the same thing with success in life. Very, very simple things that you have to do consistently will get you very far. So that is why when you see that there's a big thing you need to do, you can't give up and say it's too big for me. You start with what you can do today. But at some point, momentum will kick in, inertia will kick in, and you start to realize, hey, we're getting somewhere. Then people start to get interested in this. What are you doing? Then they join in and so forth. I've started businesses. I've started a ministry, a church. I've seen the same thing. You have to do it. Maybe for the first 3 years, you are slogging it and nobody's paying attention to you. One day, You hit the jackpot, things that work so well, and then people say, wow, this guy's an overnight success. I mean, this guy is happening. This guy is happening. Now everybody wants to come, but they don't know you've been slogging for 5 years, 6 years. And overnight success typically takes 8 years of hard work. Okay, it's been proven. 8 years of hard work before it's an overnight success. Okay, so you need to be very careful about getting demotivated when you realize how much effort you have to put in. Start where you are. How do you eat an elephant? You don't eat it all at once. You eat it in pieces. It may take you 3 months to finish it, but you will say, I finished an elephant. Now you try to lift the whole elephant all at once. Of course, it's not going to work. You want to start by building a R1 billion company in three years. You are joking. No, start with a business that's worth 20,000, then grow it to 100,000, grow it to 1 million, grow it to 20 million, and so forth and on. Okay? So all successful entrepreneurs must have self-discipline. Self-discipline is the single most important quality for success in life and business. This is Brian Tracy again that we are quoting. If you can discipline yourself to do what you should do, whether you feel like it or not, your success is virtually guaranteed. Do you hear that? Your success is virtually guaranteed. You sell every day, whether you feel like selling. You get rejected so many times by customers, you keep on selling. You keep on selling. Some days you go with sales, some you do. You go without sales. You just keep on doing it. You change your product, but you keep selling. You change how you are selling, but you keep selling. Success is guaranteed. So self-discipline requires self-mastery, self-control, self-responsibility, and self-direction. Okay, so the difference between successful entrepreneurs and failures is that successful entrepreneurs make a habit of doing the things that failures don't like to do. This is so amazing. But successful entrepreneurs do them anyways because they realize that this is the price they must pay for the success they desire. Okay, so what am I doing at 9 o'clock talking to you guys? I'm building my brand. Okay, sometimes I have got 10 views, sometimes I've got 3 views, sometimes I've got 100, sometimes I've got a lot of them. But guess what? I am disciplining myself to do this because I'm creating content and I'm launching my career as an international business coach and a speaker. Okay, so I do it consistently. Every week I'm doing it. I do other podcasts. What am I doing? I am building success. So when you guys see me doing very well, you can't say it's an overnight success. You say we were there when he was podcasting at 9 o'clock at night, when you would have been watching TV instead. Okay, that's how it works. So guys, I hope that today you got something. Leave a comment, leave a question so that we can also address your questions next week when we meet. Okay, you can also contact me, just inbox me. I'm very responsive because this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build this career because it's a passion of mine. Even though I'm also an entrepreneur, an e-preneur, okay, a techpreneur, I also love talking about entrepreneurship, motivating, encouraging, teaching, sharing, coaching. I love to do that stuff. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you again next week. And in the meantime, all the best with your business. Never give up on yourself, number one, and never give up on your business. Change your tactics. Do what you need to do, but don't change the objective. All right.